Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty sad news to go and cover over here, unfortunately, and also a little bit of other, I guess, kind of exciting news too as well. So we'll get through the sad first too, so we go get our tears out of the way, because we actually lost a pretty important and pretty iconic PlayStation 5 community member, and I think if you guys kind of listen to this story, you guys will probably understand why it's a little bit of a sadder story, I guess, at the end of the day. And as well, we also have some other big news too, because we had one of the biggest launches of PlayStation history right now that is ongoing as of today, with also a lot of really cool, nifty news in regards to that. So we're going to talk about this, going to have some tears on, and as well, we're still patiently waiting for the brand new PlayStation State of Play. It's going to be coming out tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications. I'll probably go and go over everything over there on the Twitch stream, probably tomorrow, or on the YouTube channel, so make sure you guys are following both, and follow the Twitter too as well. We also have the Target links, we have the Amazon links, and everything else in between, and leave a like, or leave some nice crying emojis down below, because this video is about to get a little bit sad. So, I mean, thankfully it's not the world's worst news out there, but it's definitely not good news. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen some of the most iconic things out there, such as the PlayStation commercial, the PlayStation sound, and of course everything in between. Now, as time's gone on, we always get different iterations and different versions of these logos, of the introductions, when you launch up games, gamepads, commercials, or whatever, but sadly, something can almost never replace the original, and that is because the PlayStation commercial logo sound creator, Toru Okada, has unfortunately passed away. Now, it's actually very, very sad news when it comes to the PlayStation universe, because this is, well, iconic. I'm one of those folks that I grew up on this, and I saw this, and I saw the news, and I'm like, is it really worth making a video on? And then I was kind of thinking, like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, this is someone who is so ingrained in the PlayStation culture, and whether you guys have seen it or have not seen it, or whatever it might be, man, like, this guy, like, he is, like, basically the maker of, like, the guy who did, like, the Nintendo Switch, like, the whatever type sound, and well, if that guy died, that'd be a little bit sad. A lot of millions upon millions of folks have heard that from launching games or commercials or the actual launch trailers, and this is nothing different. Just a little piece of, well, PlayStation history. So if you guys have ever seen a PlayStation commercial, you've heard the iconic sound accompanying the logo. For almost the entirety of the platform's existence, this note has been associated with it. And sadly, the man who composed it, Toru Okada, died of heart failure as of February 14th on Valentine's Day itself at age 73. So it's kind of been making the rounds over here because, well, obviously if someone just passes away, you kind of have to let the family deal with it, grieve with it before you kind of go public with all the news and give their time to, well, grieve. And it's a big thing. Like, Toru Okada was one of the biggest, well, dudes out there. I'm sure you guys have heard that one back in the day, or even saw the logos and everything else in between. It's just a iconic dude. So Toru Okada contributed one note to the PlayStation commercial, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know that just off the top of your heads. I'll play it again in case I was just kind of quick on this, but the little chung over there, and that's, well, it took basically to go down in history. So as soon as you heard that metallic ping, you immediately know you're about to see something PlayStation related, and throughout these years, I think that was up for a very, very long time. It was a very, very staple thing for the PlayStation universe. That strong brand recognition is one of the reasons why the PlayStation and Sony is still one of the top after launching the PS1. So interesting though, the PlayStation commercial sound has a bit of symmetry you might not notice at first. It was composed by taking the tone of the robotic PlayStation, so at the end of the commercial and layering a note on top of it. So each commercial technically begins and ends the same exact way. And this has just kind of been sad too, because whenever we have someone who's involved in the PlayStation and gaming community, like, it sucks. Like, it sucks when there's bad news going on, and it sucks when something bad happens, especially when someone who's iconic. It's like the idea of, like, Miyamoto, or, like, like someone who literally made Zelda. Like, that's sad. Like, that's someone who is ingrained in video game culture, and video games have only been around for, honest to God, not that long in the grand scheme of things in the human world. Like, we don't have people making video games in, like, 1900s, maybe some casual games, but, like, it's just different. Like, this was, like, our first kind of big iteration where some of these folks, they probably never knew what these were going to become. They're become billion-dollar industries and everything in between. So it's kind of really just sad news to see, because no one ever wants to have someone who's been ingrained in the video game culture for so long, well, passed away. It's just not fun. So Okada was prolific, and in addition to being the keyboardist in the band Moonriders, he composed, performed, and produced hundreds of works. He also did more work for PlayStation, including the music for Japanese Crash, Bandicoot commercials, and he was just a guy who was around here for a long, long time. So it's always very sad to see. We never like seeing people that are iconic in the gaming universe go, but we got to give him a nice little salute. Thank you for being part of the gaming world. A little, shout out, I guess, to you when it comes to that. So I guess to kind of go a little bit more on the nicer news, if you guys have actually missed it, today in these next few days is going to be the big PlayStation VR 2 news. A lot of PlayStation VR in the future is is, well, hopefully to be good. Fingers crossed. So if you guys want to go get it for whatever reason, don't forget you guys can just go to the PlayStation Direct, literally buy it directly from Sony for the $550 price point, or you get the Horizon Call of the Bundle as well if you guys want for $600. And a lot of folks have also been saying that the charging station, if you guys do want to get it, is, well, kind of a big deal. So one thing to note, though, is we've been seeing a lot of big updates. Like, we've been seeing things when it comes to the PlayStation VR 2. So we have a brand new confirmation for Resident Evil as well, I believe, coming out in VR. And some of the initial thoughts and comments and all this stuff so far have been huge. Well, Resident Evil Village VR is also tremendous. Proper black levels really elevate the tension. It looks super impressive in VR, and the completely reworked interface brings it closer to something like Half-Life Alyx. It's a complete separate mode with its own saves for a reason, but it's brilliant. The one weird caveat, though, is apparently with the cutscenes, and they keep the original camera motion, and it's clear they weren't made for VR, so I suspect someone might have to get motion sickness from them. But overall, everything we've been seeing so far when it comes to VR and gaming and all this stuff is, well, nice. Like, we've been seeing a lot of really good updates, a lot of really cool things, and a lot of people being pretty, I would say, happy on how the PlayStation VR has been. So if you guys have actually had a chance to get your PlayStation VR yet, let me know. I have been seeing a few people tweet at me. If you guys want to send me pictures of your setups when you have it all set up, or you guys even in your VR headsets, I love seeing that stuff if you guys want to. But when it does come to VR, it's just cool. It does seem like the early renditions on the reviews and everything else with it has been apparently going pretty good. We even had a nice official statement over here from the PlayStation blog talking about the fact that the new generation of virtual reality gaming is now here. So the PlayStation VR 2 launches with dozens of games and 100 more titles in development. And one big thing to note too is there is a massive and huge press push these past few, like probably past 2 days, but especially like today alone, for a lot of brand new games coming. Like, as we showed you guys for the Resident Evils and people saying it's really dope, and as well, same thing too even with No Man's Sky. We have a No Man's Sky practical update. We'll also be bringing in the PlayStation VR 2 support, new expeditions and starships, and there's also a lot of other really big games on the list over here that people are getting excited for and hyped up for when it comes to PlayStation VR. A big thing too is we've been seeing Gran Turismo 7. A lot of those moments, they literally have specifically said the PlayStation VR 2 was like designed around that game. When they made that game, they wanted to make sure that day one, PlayStation VR 2 will be a proper purchase. And we're seeing people getting hyped up for it. So if you guys did get one, let me know if you guys like it. But there's cool features such as like eye tracking, a lot more better like visual adaptive feedback. We're seeing a lot more proper trailers and everything else too coming out here as well. These devs are also announcing and talking about these now, probably with the NDAs being lifted and people just getting excited for VR, on how many proper games are coming in the near future. Now, sadly, we're not seeing as many big AAA games. I think that's like the one thing I'm a little bit sad about. I haven't seen too many big ones. As you guys can probably see, some of the biggest ones right now are probably Resident Evil Village with the VR mode, which I myself want to play. I would play that. Horizon 2 as well. That was probably the big mainstayer. And a lot of folks are saying like it flows good, the gameplay feels good, it's all around fun games. And of course, Gran Turismo if you guys are into racing. I really think VR and racing is probably one of the best places to be on the lookout for. So they even go and say sorry, a little cough. It's just the beginning of PSVR 2, and there will be plenty more experiences to come this year and beyond. Just around the corner, you can look forward to more games yet to launch, including Creed, Rise to Glory, Championship Edition, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Chapter 2 Retribution, No Man's Sky, and more. And we do have seen a lot of teasers going out over here for No Man's Sky, so I'm very hyped up to go and see what's coming out in the very near future. So if you guys did have a chance to get your own PlayStation VR, let me know in the comment section down below. As we mentioned, we've been seeing a lot more big announcements too with it, where people are getting their shipping confirmations, people are getting their actual consoles themselves. And so far, I don't think we've seen any major big caveats against it. We haven't seen someone who's like, oh, it's broken my PS5, or oh my god, it's just not that fun, or oh my god, I got motion sick every 3 seconds. And I think that's one nice thing is it seems like it's a pretty good and stable product. All the early reviews were saying it was nice. Some people are still saying it's a pretty good budget for the PlayStation VR. And I think the only big thing I would be worried about is the lack of future games, or if you're someone who just doesn't really appreciate VR. I know whenever I did VR, I definitely did get a little bit motion sick over time. It just kind of felt weird, but a lot of folks are also saying the brand new OLED, like proper screens and better resolution and glass and everything else have been apparently a lot better and a lot nicer. And well, people have been kind of digging it. So if you guys get yours throughout the next few days, send me a tweet, send me a picture, leave a YouTube comment, come on my Twitch stream, whatever it might be. I'm still on the fence myself. I might be able to be convinced to go and do it. I just think it'd be maybe fun content to go and do and check out with my channel. If you guys would ever want that on my Twitch or my YouTube, let me know. As well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Give me a nice little crying emoji over here for our sadly fallen sound warrior. And like I said, we have the Target links, Amazon links, and everything else all in between. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.